In many respects, it's sad to report that the mainstream media is literally, well, dying out. But in many respects, it's truly their own fault. And I can say that as someone who continues to work in the mainstream media in other spheres, and also literally as many years of working in it behind the scenes. What you truly have, the bigger problem is, and we've all seen this, it's, for instance, like the likes of Gary Lineker. The BBC said they had to pay him so much money because, that was the competitive rate. What they're finding out really now is, particularly the Director General of the BBC, Tim Davie, is, well, actually nobody really wants Gary because nobody wants to pay that ridiculous rate. It's a bit like the DJs on Radio 2, thousands and thousands of pounds. And yet when you're listening to it, I've heard better, more polished productions on hospital radio. But because they're a name and they may have been on a reality show or something, suddenly, well, they're national treasures. National treasures come and go though. And that's exactly the problem that's facing Lorraine Kelly now. As ever, let me explain. Morning, chums. Nice to see you. Thank you so much for your time. We'll have a lovely wave in this blisteringly moment of sunshine here in the United Kingdom. Hope you're keeping well, whatever you're doing. And thank you, as ever, for all your kind messages about keeping safe in London. I like to share those with you in case you're coming, because you just don't know. It's things. I saw a guy in the tube yesterday, and it's really packed and you're just standing there, and his phone was so visible, and I tapped him on the shoulder and said, this is right for pickpocketing, you need to keep this stuff in your bag. And he was nice about it, he was really kind about it, and he said, oh, thank you, but I thought, really, how many more times do you have to say to people, there are thieves about? What was that line? Watch out, there are thieves about. Do you remember that poster? You will if you live in the United Kingdom. Oh yes, takes you back, doesn't it? It's a little bit like this. Lorraine Kelly, national treasure, suddenly found out not too much of a national treasure to her boss of over 30 plus years, ITV. They're struggling, ad revenues are down, can't afford it, etc. Now, here's the thing, you see. This is where I find this hilarious, in fact, because, her team, the PR team behind Lorraine, are pumping out this, sort of paraphernalia that, well, in the first sort of 3-4 months of 2025, they had the highest ratings ever for the Lorraine Kelly show. That's true, it's there in fact, you can't deny that. What you can deny, though, is the fact that she's not there all the time. So it doesn't really matter who presents a show, it's about the time and the moment in the, sort of like the ratings line, as it were. It can be dark winters mornings, it can be the fact that there are more people off on holiday at that point. What ITV have realised is that, yes, while she's an established name, and I'm sure she has many fans, you don't need to pay somebody $1 million plus a year just to sit there giggling and then insult the audience by basically saying, actually, I'm not really who you think I am, I'm an actress playing a role. Right? And I think that was the most damaging thing. It's a little bit like Meghan's curtsy to the Queen. That, to me, was the most damaging aspect of exactly what happened to Lorraine Kelly's career. Once people thought, well, hang on a minute, so you're not being genuine, well, there's your problem. Now, behind the scenes, I can tell you that all the people that are still coming on the show have been told not to reference the debacle behind the scenes. Here's the deal, though. She was offered the opportunity to retire. Apparently, she hit the roof. 2 reasons, really. You see, if she retires, she doesn't get that pension pot. If she leaves, then, she doesn't see out her contract as ever, allegedly. Hence the reason she's going to cling on till next year. And what's interesting is, according to a source, you see, Lorraine believes that there'll be such an outpouring of love, devotion, and people not being able to cope with the fact that they won't see her at least, well, 2 mornings a week if she decides to pop up, as I pointed out on that Where's Lorraine campaign, right, on social media, that she believes ITV will suddenly apparently find the money. No, they won't. You see, they're pulling out of the old BBC TV centre and dumping all these alleged stars back in Gray's Inn Road, a soulless place, literally, not too far away from King's Cross. You really wouldn't want to go there if you've had the glitz and glamour of the old BBC studios. But Lorraine's apparently to face it out because, well, according to her, she's not as rich as people think. Richer now, though, of course, because she managed to, well, extract herself from that tax thing, didn't she? Either way, it's more fun, as I've often said, behind the scenes on television than it ever is in front of the camera. When you've seen them all with their fake smiles handing over to each other, it's literally anarchy behind the scenes. Everybody's fighting, literally, to keep their jobs. More soon as it develops. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.